Everyone remembers Inanna as the goddess of love, of beauty, of desire, the queen of heaven itself, worshipped in temples across ancient Mesopotamia thousands of years before Greece ever had a Zeus or an Olympus. No one remembers that she once stripped herself of everything: her crown, her jewelry, her power, her life, just to reach a sister who hated her. This is one of the oldest stories ever written down. Older than the Bible, older than Homer, carved into clay tablets in a language almost no one alive can read anymore. And it begins with Inanna deciding to do something no god before her had ever attempted. She decided to visit the underworld, not because she died, not because she was summoned, because she chose to. The underworld belonged to her sister, Ereshkigal, queen of the dead, ruler of a realm where nothing living was permitted to enter and nothing dead was ever permitted to leave. The two sisters were not close. Some stories suggest outright hatred between them. Two queens ruling opposite ends of existence. One radiant and worshipped above, one feared and avoided below. Inanna told no one exactly why she wanted to go. Perhaps grief, perhaps curiosity, perhaps something between the two sisters that the old texts simply don't explain, lost to 4,000 years of erosion and translation. But before she left, she was not foolish. She prepared. She instructed her servant, Ninshubber, that if she did not return, Ninshubber must go to the other gods and beg for her rescue. She left instructions. She left a plan. Then she dressed herself in the full regalia of a queen of heaven. Her crown, her lapis beads, a breastplate, a golden ring, a measuring rod and line, a royal robe, and she walked to the gates of the underworld. There were 7 gates. At each one, the gatekeeper demanded something be removed before she could pass further. At the first gate, her crown. "What is this?" Inanna demanded. "Quiet, Inanna. The ways of the underworld are perfect. They may not be questioned." At the second gate, her lapis beads. At the third, her breastplate. At the fourth, her golden ring. At the fifth, her measuring rod and line, the symbols of her authority and judgment. At the sixth, her royal robe. And at the 7th gate, the very last thing she had left. She entered her sister's realm completely naked, stripped of every symbol of power she had ever held. No crown, no jewelry, no authority, no protection. Just Inanna, standing before Ereshkigal, with nothing left to prove who she was. Ereshkigal did not welcome her. The judges of the underworld, 7 terrifying beings called the Anunnaki, fixed Inanna with a stare that killed on contact. She was struck dead instantly. Her body was hung on a hook, left to rot in the darkness of the underworld, forgotten by the very realm she had entered to understand. Above, in the world of the living, 3 days and 3 nights passed. Ninshubber, exactly as instructed, went to the gods and begged for help. Most refused. This was not their affair. Inanna had chosen to enter a realm that did not welcome the living, and most gods believed that meant she had chosen her own fate. Only one god agreed to help, Enki, god of wisdom and water, who fashioned 2 strange, sexless creatures from the dirt beneath his fingernails and sent them into the underworld carrying the food and water of life. These creatures were small enough, insignificant enough, that they were allowed to slip past the gates unnoticed. Nothing to strip away, nothing to demand from beings that were barely considered alive at all. They found Ereshkigal in the depths of her grief. For the underworld's queen, it turns out, was in genuine mourning, groaning in pain the entire time Inanna's body hung rotting on the hook, though the old texts never fully explain why. The 2 creatures did something unexpected. They didn't plead, they didn't bargain. They simply echoed Ereshkigal's own groans back to her, again and again, mirroring her pain until she felt, for perhaps the first time, truly seen in her grief. Moved by this strange, wordless companionship, Ereshkigal offered the creatures a gift. They asked for only one thing: the corpse hanging on the hook. She agreed. They sprinkled the food and water of life onto Inanna's body, and she rose. But the underworld does not release anyone for free. The law was absolute. No one leaves the land of the dead without providing someone to take their place. Inanna, restored but bound by this law, was escorted back to the world of the living by a procession of demons, the Gala, whose only purpose was to drag someone back down into the underworld in her place. She refused to offer up Ninshuber, who had mourned for her faithfully the entire time she was gone, dressed in rags, refusing food, grieving as though her mistress were truly dead. She refused her sons, who had also mourned her properly. But when she returned to her own city and found her husband, Dumuzi, seated on her throne, dressed in his finest clothes, showing no sign of grief at all, seemingly untouched by 3 days of his wife's death, her fury was immediate. She pointed the demons toward him. Dumuzi was dragged into the underworld in her place. The story does not end cleanly here either. Dumuzi's sister, Inanna, grieved so deeply and searched so relentlessly that eventually a bargain was struck. Dumuzi would spend half the year in the underworld, and Inanna would take his place for the other half. An eternal cycle mirrored in myths the world over, long before Persephone and Demeter would tell nearly the same story in Greece centuries later. Everyone remembers Inanna as the goddess of love and beauty, worshipped in temples across an empire. No one remembers that she once walked willingly into death itself, stripped of every symbol of who she was, just to understand a sister who never once made it easy to be loved. And somewhere in the oldest layer of human storytelling we have ever unearthed, that's exactly the story that survived, not a goddess who conquered death, but one who was humbled by it, resurrected by it, and changed by it forever.